Welcome back to Glass Engraving for Beginners. My name's Javier. In this tutorial, we are going to engrave a deer onto a candle holder. And this should be a fairly easy project to complete. As you can see here, I have already drawn my deer onto my candle holder with a Sharpie. You can go back and take a look at some of my earlier videos to see how I get the shape or the drawing onto the glass. You could either draw it freehand or you could just trace it from a printout on the computer. What you see me doing here is engraving the deer onto the candle holder with a small spherical round diamond tipped burr. And I have sped up the video. It's not going as, I don't engrave as fast as this shows it, but I've sped up the video some so that it doesn't take as long for you to watch the progress. When you're doing this, just go ahead and take your time, go through, make sure you have all the outlines engraved with the spherical tool first. As you can see, I'm not using water for the outline. I'm just engraving dry to get the outlines to pop out. Later on, when we go ahead and do the inside of the deer, I will use water. You'll see that here in a little bit. But just to get the outline going, it's gonna be dry. I do it dry. So we're getting the antlers here. The size of the spherical tool burr that I'm using is small. It's not the smallest one I have, but it gives me a good starting point for the outlines. As you can see, it's almost basically the same size as what my fine point Sharpie was. And here's the outline all complete with that spherical bit, the burr. What I'm going to show you here is I have a small spherical diamond tip burr here, and basically we're going to dig into this glass some. And I'm going to show you here in the glass, the back parts, the back legs right here. We're going to dig deeper than the front ones. So that back one and that back one, I'm going to take the meat out of the glass a little bit deeper than the front. And so what you have to remember when you start doing this is just how thick is the glass that you have. You don't want to dig so deep that you're either going to go all the way through the glass, or that you're going to make the glass weak. You don't want to leave it so thin that the glass is just going to break even when somebody just holds it. So as you can see here, you have some leeway, but you want to keep in mind just how deep you're going to go on these back parts. So let's go ahead and get the back legs going of the deer. I went ahead and used some water here, and I'm gonna dig into these back legs. Again, here I'm still using a spherical diamond tipped burr. I am using my Dremel flex shaft attachment. Pretty much all my videos or all my projects nowadays use the flex shaft because it's so light, it's easy to maneuver, it doesn't weigh as much as just using the actual Dremel tool. So we're just gonna go ahead and engrave all the inside of that leg, taking out what I have been calling the meat of the glass. I don't know if there's an actual term for taking that out. When I think about it, that is probably the term, taking out meat, but I'll probably have to do some research on that. Okay, so there's the first leg. Now the other leg, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take out glass, cutting deep into the glass, deeper than what I'm gonna do the rest of the deer, because I want those back legs to kind of have a depth to them, so that it doesn't seem like they're near as the front of the deer. So I'm going to cut out that glass fairly deep. At the end of the video, we'll see how that turns out. So as you can see, again, this is sped up, but you can take your time. Basically, whenever I'm engraving, I either have my headphones on, or I'm listening to the radio, or maybe there's a movie on in the background. I find it to be a relaxing hobby because you can take your time. I believe this project from start to completion only took me about an hour, and that again is taking your time. Here, the inside, the actual body of the deer, now I have changed my burr over to the gray stone. Almost looks like a bullet. So it's the regular gray stone that usually comes with your Dremel tool. Coloring the inside of it. I'm not digging deep on this one. It's basically just the surface, scratching up the surface with the stone, and that way the deer starts getting that iced look. So I'm getting the whole body and the legs, going all the way to the outlines that we had drawn earlier. So we're gonna hit it with this tool. As you can see, I'm not worried too much about making this inside look all even, all the same, because of course the deer has hair, so I want to leave that a little bit rough. Getting the inside of the head here. I will do the antlers near the end, so I just left that as is for right now. Getting some water in there. Basically, I just dip my finger in a water cup and I usually just wet it, getting the whole picture. So here you can see I have the back legs dug in deeper than the front and the body. Now I'm going back with a spherical diamond tip burr, and I'm gonna hit the parts of the deer that I want highlighted. And here as well, I'm digging deeper into this outline up top. That way the body will start looking a little bit rounder up on the top. You can kind of see there that it's deeper than the rest right there. Get its tail. And again, you can see some of this on my other video, the flower vase tutorial. I'm not going over the whole outline. I'm just going over certain parts that I want to highlight or have it stand out a little bit. And in this particular case, I'm digging deeper into these parts to make it have sort of a rounded look. Again, this is still using the spherical diamond tip burr. Getting a little bit of the antlers here, not all of it, again, just the parts that I want highlighted. Some of these projects you might just stop here. This is perfectly a good spot if you like that look. If you want to keep going and experiment with smoothing and shading, then you would go ahead and keep going. So here I have my white Arkansas stone burr. I'm going to hit the inside of the back legs here to make those smooth. Well, smoother than they were before. I'm going to hit the back leg. Again, I'm using water here. The water helps make that a smoother transition. Plus, there's not as much dust. I don't think we've really talked about safety here. Goggles, a mask, so that you're not inhaling all that glass dust that may come up. This is still a white Arkansas stone. I went ahead and switched to one that's has a fine tip at the end, sort of bullet shaped. Okay, so I went ahead and smoothed some of the outlines there with that white Arkansas stone. And now this is one of my first tier of smoothing burrs. And it's kind of shaped like a wheel, you can see here. So I'm gonna hit the top of the deer to start getting some shade going. If you're not too sure how to shade, my suggestion would be to look up some pictures on the internet and pay close attention to which parts, in this particular case the deer, which parts of a deer are darker than others whenever the light is hitting the animal. So you don't really have to have an art background. I mean really you just need to be able to realize which parts are darker based on looking at a picture. So in this case, my light source, if you're watching the video, it's top left. So the top parts are going to be lighter because the sun's hitting them. And then on this deer, the bottom, his belly is going to be darker. The legs, the bottom of the legs are going to be a little bit darker. The back legs for sure are going to be darker because they're further away. So I'm definitely going to hit those with the smoothing tip. This front back leg in this instance is kind of hard for me to reach with this wheel burr because it was small. My wheel burr here is a little bit bigger, too big for it to hit the back, to hit the bottom of that. So here again, this is the next step of smoothing stone, this wheel stone. So this is going to make these particular parts a little bit darker. On that front leg there, I'm still trying to hit the very bottom so that it's not as bright. But currently, the burrs that I have, I think I need a little bit smaller burrs in order to hit those spots. So I think I'm actually going to invest. I'm going to buy more burrs that are smaller in size to get those kind of things. You can see there's some actual shading going on now. That back leg is a little bit darker. And I'm just going through and shading parts of the deer to make him darker and not stand out as much as the light areas. This is even the next step of smoothing to make it even darker. So I'm going through and hitting these low spots and the belly. I'll hit the belly as well. Basically what you're doing here with these stones is you're trying to sort of undo the scratches that you made earlier. And that's another good reason for not going too deep on that original gray stone, is because if you go deep on that, then this part of the process is going to become harder for you to get back into a transparent look. So the parts that are going to stand out are going to be dug deep and with a rough stone. The parts that are going to be darker are going to be not so deep and with a smoothing stone. Alright, so now finally I'm going to go ahead and get to the antlers themselves. So here I'm back to using a spherical diamond tip burr. Digging sort of deep on these to make them stand out. As you go along as well, the engraving becomes faster. You get faster at doing this, because then you know how your Dremel and your bits are going to react when you press down on them. You know which way to go. So the more and more you do it, the faster and faster you're going to get. Here we have the deer, all complete. On this one, I did make some mistakes. I think I need smaller burrs, especially for that back leg. But for now, I think we're done with this tutorial. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe and comment if you'd like. Or if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them on there. I'll try to answer them. Thanks for watching.